Hello, and welcome back to the Southern Bible Thumper channel. For this upload, we will be reading Numbers chapter 13. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Send thou men, that they may search the land of Canaan, which I give unto the children of Israel. Of every tribe of their fathers shall ye send a man, every one a ruler among them. And Moses, by the commandment of the Lord, sent them from the wilderness of Paran. All those men were heads of the children of Israel, and these were their names. Of the tribe of Reuben, Shemua, the son of Zachar. Of the tribe of Simeon, Shaphat, the son of Hori. Of the tribe of Judah, Caleb, the son of Jephunneh. Of the tribe of Issachar, Igal, the son of Joseph. Of the tribe of Ephraim, Oshea, the son of Nun. Of the tribe of Benjamin, Palti, the son of Raphu. Of the tribe of Zebulun, Gadiel, the son of Sadi. Of the tribe of Joseph, namely, of the tribe of Manasseh, Gadi, the son of Suzi. Of the tribe of Dan, Amiel, the son of Gamali. Of the tribe of Asher, Sethor, the son of Michael. Of the tribe of Naphtali, Nabi, the son of Bopshi. Of the tribe of Gad, Geuel, the son of Maki. These are the names of the men which Moses sent to spy out the land. And Moses called Oshea, the son of Nun, Jehoshua. And Moses sent them to spy out the land of Canaan, and said unto them, Get you up this way southward, and go up into the mountain, and see the land, what it is, and the people that dwelleth therein, whether they be strong or weak, few or many, and what the land is that they dwell in, whether it be good or bad, and what cities they be that they dwell in, whether in tents or in strongholds, and what the land is, whether it be fat or lean, whether there be wood therein or not, and be ye of good courage, and bring up the fruit of the land. Now the time was the time of the first ripe grapes. So they went up and searched the land from the wilderness of Zin unto Rehob, as men come to Hamath. And they ascended by the south, and came unto Hebron, where Iman, Sheshai, and Talmai, the children of Anak, were. Now Hebron was built 7 years before Zoan in Egypt. And they came unto the brook of Escol, and cut down from thence a branch with one cluster of grapes, and they bare it between two upon a staff. And they bought of the pomegranates and of the figs. This place was called the brook Escol, because of the cluster of grapes which the children of Israel cut down from thence. And they went and came to Moses and to Aaron and to all the congregation of the children of Israel unto the wilderness of Paran to Kadesh, and brought back word unto them and to all the congregation, and shewed them the fruit of the land. And they told him and said, We came unto the land whither thou sentest us, and surely it floweth with milk and honey, and this is the fruit of it. Nevertheless, the people be strong that dwell in the land, and the cities are walled and very great. And moreover, we saw the children of Anak there. The Amalekites dwell in the land of the south, and the Hittites, and the Jebusites, and the Amorites dwell in the mountains, and the Canaanites dwell by the sea, and by the coast of Jordan. And Caleb stilled the people before Moses, and said, Let us go up at once and possess it, for we are well able to overcome it. But the men that went up with him said, We be not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we. And they brought up an evil report of the land, which they had searched unto the children of Israel, saying, The land, though which we have gone to search it, is a land that eateth up the inhabitants thereof, and all the people that we saw in it are men of a great stature. And there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, which come of the giants, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight. Summarizing Numbers chapter 13, God tells Moses to send men from every tribe to observe the land of Canaan. Even though the land was promised, God still required group preparation. Numbers chapter 13, verses 4 through 16, lists the group of men that Moses chose to go into the new land and survey it out of curiosity, because in verse 2, I'm reading the King James Version, so every one a ruler among them. And it also says here, God wanted a man from every tribe to go spy on the land. So if we look at Numbers chapter 1, God already, or I forget who said it, so I'm not going to say that, but the names of the princes who will rule over their clans, they're already, picked out and mentioned in Numbers chapter 1, and also again in Numbers chapter 7, because in chapter 7, that was the ceremony where each leader made their offering in front of the congregation. So this was sort of like a prestigious ceremony. So that's what those men got to do. But when it was time to do something like this, where spying is not as prestigious as being a leader and presenting expensive gifts in front of the congregation, this mean the person could die going into a stranger's land or get caught up in some other kind of way because they're unfamiliar with the territory. And even though it's listed here, that they're each one a chief or each one a ruler, you know, why didn't the men from Numbers 1 just do that? So the other thing this made me think of is when the Bible says God is not a respecter of persons. I know we're not at that part of the Bible yet, but that's what it made me think of. Moses was the one who chose who went to Canaan, not God. And Moses didn't choose these princes, even though he already had them. They already, there's one from each tribe. Instead, he sent some other men. And so I thought about that too, and I wondered would things have turned out differently if maybe he sent a ruler instead of some man that didn't have the same status. So verses 16 through 21, Moses commands the men to investigate and observe to find out if there's firewood, how the fruit is, other things. Then we get to verse 23. When they went into the land, they took a branch with a grape cluster that was so large 2 people had to carry it. They got pomegranates, they got figs. Verse 25, they returned to Israel after 40 days, and they report to Moses and Aaron that the land is fertile. They show them the fruit, and then they communicate who the occupants of the territory was and where their dwelling places were. Verse 30, Caleb is eager, and he says, hey, let's overtake the land. But the other men that went with him only saw the giants in the dangerous parts of the land. And it ends disturbingly. We seemed to ourselves like grasshoppers, and so we seemed that way to them. Okay? This part of the Bible, or this part of this verse, is so just. We read part of a chapter where God commands the Israelites to love your neighbor as yourself. And I mentioned there, pointed out that to love your neighbor as yourself, you have to love yourself. To truly love yourself, you have to have a healthy self-image. You have to have a healthy sense of confidence. And if you don't have that, it's going to affect everything that you do. It's going to affect your interactions because you're automatically going to start creating what other people think of you. Or you're going to start creating what other people think, period, which is psychotic. Why are you making up other people's thoughts, especially if you don't talk to them? How do you know what they think? So you'll sabotage your own interactions if you don't have a healthy self-esteem. And this is something that, unfortunately, ignoring and just going to church and ignoring and praying, that's not going to fix it. You're going to have to look at yourself and figure out what it will take for you to love who you are. If it's physical, if it's not physical, what else can you do? How can you work on your personality to get what you need to get? But this, how you see yourself, we seem to ourselves like grasshoppers. And so we had to seem that way to them. They didn't interact with anyone, and they believed this about their interaction. Even though Caleb, who had the same interaction, he said, you know what? We can overtake it. I also want to point out that how the amount of people in this group that were negative about this experience versus the people who are positive. Caleb is one person, he's the only person that had something good to say. Everyone else had something negative to say. And I think that's for a reason. We understand that it's more common for people to have this type of negative view of themselves. It's common to feel a certain way about yourself and then to create how other people think of you without even interacting with them and asking them directly, hey, what do you think of me? Do you think I'm a grasshopper? Because if you didn't ask, if no one told you specifically out of their mouth, then you are creating that experience. And it is psychotic. It's psychotic. You can't create what other people think. But it's just also, in addition to the amount of people who are like this, the amount of people who have a negative self-image and then create what other people think outnumbered the people who didn't have that, outnumbered the people who had a healthy self-image and a healthy confidence. They outnumbered Caleb. Another thing that I'm going to point out, these people that had negative self-image and saw themselves, they did two things. Number one, they made this about themselves. Instead of talking about the land, they're talking about how they felt about themselves. So when you don't fix that, it's going to keep coming up. It's going to come up like vomit. They weren't even talking about how you saw yourself. But instead of just giving them the report of what you saw and what you observed, you had to talk about how you felt about yourself, because those thoughts take over your mind, which is another reason why you have to fix it, because you won't stop being able to think about it. The other thing, do you see what they said about the land versus what Caleb said? They said the land devours the inhabitants, and the people were giants. Caleb did not mention all of that. All he said was, we're well able to overcome it. He didn't even mention. He had so much confidence. He said, well, I can take them, and God is with me. We'll easily take over them. It didn't even occur to them. It didn't even occur to Caleb, the confident one, to talk about somebody else's appearance. It didn't even occur to him. So, especially as a Christian woman, that is imperative to learn, because this world does not help you be a good Christian. Okay, this world, if you're a woman, sometimes it feels like there's a lot more opportunity in not being a Christian woman and abandoning those morals. Because again, it's about the numbers. What can you produce? Does your morality produce any numbers for you? Does your morality produce anything for you? That is the question that the world is always asking. And you have to have a very strong resolve to be able to stand in it, even when it's uncomfortable, even when the world doesn't, you're not able to get what you think you need. Because after all, you are human. You can't just be 100% spiritual. So these resources on earth are important. These numbers on earth are important. We have to live in this world. But there is a way to do it. But I just want to point out and underscore, I hope I rubbed it in real good with elbow grease, how important the way that the person views the self, it will infect every single thing that you do, because you'll start creating what other people think. You'll create an entire world of things that didn't even really happen. How can you say somebody saw you a certain way when you didn't even ask them? You didn't even talk to them. And I'm going to read this in the next chapter, but I just want you to see how in verse 14 or chapter 14, the next chapter, the congregation reacted to that bad news and they cried. It's easy for bad news and negativity to spread. It spreads so easily for some reason. And it's easy to be negative when you don't have a good perspective about yourself. It's much more easy because your mind starts to do more. It takes over your mind, and then you start creating what other people think. That's all I have for numbers 13, and the next upload will be numbers 14. Thank you for watching.